The influence of Islam and the esoteric interpretation of Islam, to say more accurately, is significant in the Ottoman archery, as can be seen in many rituals and applications. And one of this is the respect that they show to the grip of the bow, not the bow overall, but the grip of the bow. And as the manifestation of this respect, you can see the kissing of the bow, for example, as a ritual. When they strung the bow, they kissed the bow before they started shooting or training, and they kissed the bow's grip again before unstringing the bow. There are historical reports about that they did that during practice and even during record attempts in flight archery. There was a report about a flight shot. The archer, who was one of the brilliant kemankesh of his time, immediately kissed the grip of the bow and unstrung the bow, and people around him asked him why he did it, just because they didn't get any signal from people who were waiting at the point that the arrow was supposed to land. But he was so sure of his shot, and he said, with the permission of God, this will be a new record. So anyway, in this report, it is clearly mentioned that he kissed the grip before he unstrung the bow. So we know that it was a custom, and the reason that they have respect for the grip is quite interesting, and it's based on a verse in Quran. But before getting into the details, I would like to tell you another custom or ritual about kissing the bow, not only before the training or shooting or after the training or shooting. During the initiation ceremonies, as well as proficiency ceremonies, let's say, they kissed the bow when they were taking the bow from the hand of their master, when they are confirmed as proficient archers after having been able to shoot an arrow at 900 gaz, which is measured 594 meters in the metric system. So anyway, this kissing or the respect that they show on the grip of the bow is more esoteric rather than orthodox when we are talking about the Islamic influence on the Ottoman archery, which I will now explain. In order to keep everything intact and easier to understand, I would like to say a few words about these ceremonies. These ceremonies, this initiation ceremony and the ceremony that declared the proficiency of the archer, is based on the craftsman guild culture of the Islamic medieval world. So archery was considered a profession as well, and therefore the proficiency of the archer was declared and celebrated with the ceremony. And in this ceremony, not only kissing the grip, but also giving the bow by holding the grip to the new proficient archer was also a manifestation of this importance of the grip, because even the naming of this ceremony is based on the grip of the bow. In Turkish, it's büyük kabza alma töreni, which means the great grip taking ceremony. So you're taking the grip of a bow from your master's hand, which symbolized the transfer of the archery knowledge from one generation to the other. So the know-how, the archery know-how and culture were also transferred via the bow's grip. So that's why the grip was considered to be a very important part of the bow. And more interesting than that is why it was considered so. It is also a very good example to show the difference between the Orthodox Islam and its esoteric variations if it comes to explaining things, even interpreting the verses in Quran. Because this symbolization is based on a verse in Quran that is a part of the story of the journey the Prophet Muhammad has made to see the God. So like the Moses' anecdote, according to the Muslim belief, the Prophet Muhammad also went up to the sky and somehow managed to go to God to come together with him. And in this verse, which is the 9th verse of Surah Najm, it says, فَكَانَ قَابَ قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى, which is translated to, he came as close as two eyebrows are to each other. So whether this journey was a physical journey, as believed by some Islamic scholars, or a spiritual one, as believed by some other Islamic scholars, there is a sort of approximity here that Muhammad was somehow close to God. And the Islamic scholars usually interpret this verse as a physical approximity, that Muhammad was really next to God. On the other hand, the Sufi interpretation is different than that, and is based on the different explanation of the relationship between God and the created ones by the Sufi philosophy. And here in the verse, the word kabz, which means eyebrow, as well as bow, can be interpreted as eyebrow, like the Islamic scholars did, but it can also be translated as bow, because kabz can be translated as bow to English as well. So it means it does not refer to a physical proximity between two eyebrows, but the relation between two limbs of the bow, because each of the limb of a bow is a bow as well. So according to this interpretation, there are two limbs of the bow, and they come together at the grip. And in this symbolization, the lower limb represents or symbolizes the bad, the evil, the sin, while the upper limb symbolizes the holy, the sublime, the good. And the interesting point is, according to this explanation, neither of these bows can be used unless they come together at the grip. So the grip is somewhere that they come together and become useful. So it's a sort of unification, and is related to the belief Tawheed, and Tawheed is the oneness of God. But even the definition of Tawheed is different among the Orthodox Islamic scholars and the Sufi scholars, just because Tawheed is also classified in three, and its definition is up to the spiritual level of the individual. So it's called Tawhid-i Awam, Tawhid-i Hawas, and Tawhid-i Hawasul Hawas. So it means that this oneness of God can also be interpreted that the created one is so close to the creator that even at the end of this journey of spiritual development, this dualism disappears. So it is, of course, something that is very dangerous to say, because the religious law was very dominant, and this is a little bit too heterodox to say something like that. But that's what the Sufist interpreters thought, what the bow symbolizes, and how that verse of the Quran should be interpreted.